oh, but look at this funny thing that happened. At the end of that, you lose the sense of that, and I think
you
we
lose
have to
the
be a lot
person
more
as well.
Absolutely.
You lose their trust. Totally.
Absolutely, because you can see that. You can see when someone, do you know what I mean? You could be telling the most heartfelt thing, and you go, "Yeah, no, I remember that happened to me," and it's like, "Oh, you lost your foot in a car accident, did you?" Do you know what I mean? It's like it's always the worst thing, and you're like, "Yeah, that never happened." So I think that is the key.
Though, babe, just so you know, I must pat you on the back because Pete doesn't often open up. Like it takes me getting him drunk normally to find out how his life is. Like, so the fact that he's sat and done it with you, you must be you've got a trusting vibe, I think is what I want to say.
Oh, thank you very much. I like that. I had to buy him tequila after it, so I don't know if that's a sign that it went well or not.
I knew it would work his way in somewhere. He's so predictable.
It definitely mentioned we go and have a drink, and the bill was like 250 quid. We were there for half an hour. So Jesus Christ, Pete.
Honestly, I fucking love him, but he's daughter, isn't he?
He's honestly, but he's so fun. I've got so much time for him, and it's the thing actually, because that's what I've really loved at the time that I've spent with you. Is that you guys have got that real. It's a likable character, but it's not a character, if that makes sense. I know it's obviously like it's a real person, but there's so many. The thing that I've loved seeing over the years is there are TV people. And they're people who are on TV, and they're two very different people. And the thing that I've loved is getting to know the people who are on TV, because the character comes away and the other side of it comes down. And I think when you know that you're in a safe space to some degree of that, you know, I'm not trying to find some scoop, and I'm not trying to get a headline, and I'm not trying to, you know, call some publication showbiz editor and say, I've got the inside scoop. Like, that's not for me, because I wouldn't want that. And I wouldn't want to live in that scenario if someone was asking me those questions. And again, it's like you were saying about the trust side of it, is that I wouldn't want people to think that's what I was trying to get out of any conversation, because, you know, just be nice, and it's fun to like people.
It's such a shitty vibe. Like, you can just sense sometimes, and I'm not naming any names, right? But I've gone on some TV shows, and like, obviously I'm an emotional person. I have a bit of a reputation as a crier, but like, I sit there and like, I just see a producer push a box of tissues in my direction before the interview's even started. And I think, fuck you. Like, I'm not going to cry today. Like, you can tell they're almost preempting that emotional response that they want. That's going to get the headline, like she breaks down on the telly or whatever. And I don't know, it leaves a bad taste in your mouth. And
absolutely.
If people just let things happen organically and had a lovely chat unfold, then who knows? I might fucking cry.
Absolutely. But that's the thing. That's where it's real. You know, I was talking, Emily, my producer for the podcast, we were talking about a show that we'd seen the other day. And, you know, it's just, you can see that it's manufactured for that. And, you know, one thing that we've been really conscious of doing the show is that we've wanted people to be as real as possible, because we're having a real conversation. What I don't want to do is, you know, that old one of like, you know, your hair looks shit, and oh, look at that blonde one. It's like, you know, so tell me about your first pet, you know. And it's like, do you know what I mean? It's just, you can see it. It's just so, because I'm trying to get some trailer that it's like, do you know what I mean? And it's like, and I get that. And I think the great thing about the world over the last few years, I definitely think, you know, people are moving in a bit more of a mob mentality, and everyone's trying to get the scoop so that everyone can get the comments and all of that sort of stuff. But I definitely think authenticity is far easier to spot now, and I think that is the real key in sort of relationships and conversation and listening to people, is that if you genuinely are authentic in those scenarios, people will open up to you more, and we will all be better people for it. Because if we live our life waiting for the next big thing that we can all get around and comment on or take the piss out of or be behind, you know, I think that's where it doesn't work out so well for the best, for in the best interest of everyone. And I think, you know, being authentic and trying to keep that momentum moving forward is what we all need to do.
Yeah, and do you know what? Podcasts at the like bones of it should just be a really authentic, lovely conversation with two people, where you sort of I don't know. You swap stories, and like if something's going to come
Absolutely.
out, it's going to come out, and if it's not, it's still just a nice chat. I don't put any pressure on anyone. Me, when I always chat to people, like when I'm approaching it initially, I always just say it's a really lovely chat. We're not looking to trip anybody up because I think on some of them there
So
is.
true. So true. And I think, like what you've just said there, that's the thing I've loved about doing this, and this whole experience of doing this is getting to chat to you guys, because where I've seen it different is that I think when you look at like you were talking about the shows that you go on and they're pushing you to cry, is that they're trying to get a reaction that's for that moment, and it just pushes that singular moment in time that they can get a scoop or a headline for. But there's so many people who will follow you and be inspired by you and be a fan of you, that will never get the insight into what they might be feeling that you might be feeling. And I think that's where the podcast medium works so well, is that I've seen emails that people have sent into shows and listened to shows where they have people email in and they're like, you've helped me through some really tough times and you've been there for me. And I think just having that voice in the background and actually going, oh my God, they are real people. Because everyone says, oh, celebrities are just real people. We all put our trousers on one leg at a time and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it's very hard to separate that from, people who are struggling in life or financially or mentally and all those sort of things. But when you have the opportunity to listen to people who really are having those issues and the same as everyone else, you just might have a better car and a nicer house.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? When you take all of that away, it's still just two human beings. And I think that's where we're in a really unique position to be able to give people insight into the lives that you guys have. And, it's not all glitz and glam. And, behind all of that and behind Instagram, which is what you do so well, you showcase your Instagram, you say, this is the Instagram and then this is the real life. And I think that really opens up a side and it shows people are different sides of you, and it's a testament to how authentic you are being to the people that follow you. Is that it's very easy nowadays with technology to make everything look amazing, but
No.
we've all had bad night's sleep. It's true.
No, but I think it's honestly, mate, I think it's important. I always endeavour to show both sides of the coin, more for my own mental health than anything else. Like if I was trying to keep up with this perfectly curated little squares,
Yeah,
I'd just be exhausted. I drive myself insane.
Absolutely.
I know we've just gone through like a lovely chat there about how, we're not going to dig for any goss and we're going to be authentic and all that. But I just wanted to know who the most famous person his hair you've ever done as well. It got me thinking. I was like, I am just genuinely really curious about this. So go on, you must have done somebody. I know Jamie Redknapp, and obviously, I'm a big fan.
Yeah, like those guys are up there. I mean, it depends. Like famous for like big, I suppose in that scenario, I'd have to say.
Oh my God, I'm really excited.
Adam Lambert.
Stop it.
Yes, like I mean that's he's the front man of Queen now. I mean that's quite. I have to say that's quite big.
He's got fantastic hair as well.
Oh, he was so cool. I remember it was sort of really early on in my career, and I was a bit nervous, and I said to him, I think you're the biggest person's hair I've ever done before, and he went, "Are you calling me fat?" And I was like, no. And he was only joking, but I shit myself.
You have a hole, like,
I was like, oh no, please don't hate me. Don't tell other celebrities not to come here. He was definitely up there. I remember I cut Louis Walsh's hair a few times, and he was the best for gossip. He loved it.
You can't help yourself.
Oh my God, it was his currency.
I remember I met him once for like 5 minutes. I remember I just won the Jungle, and I did this. It was like the Who Shot Simon Cowell sketch thing on.
Yeah.
I think it was Ant and Dec Show. It was something. Anyway, I turned up late because my train had been delayed. And I just felt like I was in a dream, mate. I walked into this like amazing mansion where they were shooting this party scene, and like all these celebs were like Louis Walsh, Sunita, Simon Cowell, like, and I just literally couldn't believe it. And I remember walking up to Sunita and being like, "Hi, are you all right? My name's Vicky." And she went, she just stared at me blankly, and she's like, "What?" And I went, "Hello, are you all right? My name's Vicky." And she's like, She tried to like repeat back what I'd said to her and like acted like I spoke complete gobbledygook. It was awful. Anyway, Louis Walsh just like took me arm and he was like, "Don't mind her," and just started fucking telling us all this sort of like mad gossip. And I was like, "I've just got here, Louis. Like you've got no business."
I know. I remember when it cut his hair once, and he went, "Right, so what have you got for me?" And I was like, "It's like nothing."
I'm dry, Louis. You've got to stop. I've
been at home all week. Like, call someone. The people that you know, you think you're coming to me. You think I've got gossip? Oh God.
No, he is brilliant. I'm absolutely obsessed with that story.
No, it makes me laugh. Thank
you for sharing that. As a hairdresser, like you must see certain trends that like that's really out the bones of it, isn't it? So certain trends that kick off that, you know, you must just think, oh God, no. Like I can remember once it wasn't a couple of years ago now, it's probably more like 10, 15 years ago, but I'm so old. Remember when Rihanna had that sick red hair? Jonathan.
Yeah, it was massive.
Like, oh my God, everyone had it. And like birds who just had no business having bright red hair were like swanning around. And I remember what
fringes.
Yeah. And obviously it looked great on Riri, but it's not going to look good on everyone. So that for me is a big standout moment. Has there ever been like a trend like that where you've just thought, please God, stop?
Well, it's an interesting one because what you're talking about there is very true. That happens all the time. Because what happens now is sort of back in the day, trends used to be what Anna Wintour said they were in Vogue. And there'd be autumn, winter and spring, summer. And all that would happen is Fashion Week would happen and all the big magazines would cover like the Tom Fords and the Marc Jacobs. And then it would filter down until it got to like Heat. And they would be like, flowers are in. And, you know, it'd be like the diluted version of that. And that would become what trends would be. Now, social media has just killed trends. Like, it doesn't work like it used to because you could have like the coolest, trendiest thing straight from the catwalk of Paris Fashion Week today. By next week, Kendall Jenner will have done something and she's just wiped all of it out.
It's just it happens, fast moving, isn't it?
Everything's so fast paced. So, I mean, there's moments like you're just like, oh God, the wrong person's going to ask me for this. And I'll tell you a funny story of that. There was a trend once. It was a Cheryl Cole haircut. I can't remember which one it was.
I bet you have tried to copy it.
It was like the big blow dry, and it was like the fringe, and she looked amazing. She does. And I was talking to this woman, and we were sort of trying to fix her hair, and she said that she'd gone to a salon with this picture of Cheryl Cole, and she's sitting in the chair waiting, and the hairdresser is obviously very busy, and he's doing a set of highlights, and then he's coming to have the consultation to get her shampooed to finish highlights, and he's managing his day, and he comes over, and they have an in-depth conversation about this hairstyle that she's going to get. And he is, babe, don't worry, you're getting it. This is what we're going to do. We're going to do it like this. It's going to look great, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to get you shampooed. I'm going to leave you with Chris. I'm just going to finish my highlights here. I'll be back. We'll get your haircut. So she's like, great. So he goes over and he starts finishing off the highlights. He comes back, just starts cutting this woman's hair. Now, at this point, he's obviously totally forgot everything that he was doing. And she said that she took this little picture out of her pocket from under the gown. And she looked at the picture of Cheryl Cole's hair that she'd gone in with. And she looked up at the mirror and it was two totally different haircuts. And she said at this point, the guy realised and went, come on, you didn't think I was going to make you look like that, did you?
What? I love it.
Just totally bottled it.
Oh my God. But then what do you even say at that point? Like, I like to think I'd take it on the chin and go, I'm having a busy day. I've done something wrong. I'm so sorry. This is obviously free. And if you need anything else.
Yeah, you have to. You have to. The best one of it all, though, which is still my all-time favourite, is I used to do education in salons, and I'd always go and tell this story. And I'd always say to everyone, like halfway through the day and people are getting a bit bored, like, what's the funniest hair story you've got? And all these people start like nudging this girl.
Till this afternoon, yeah.
And I was like, she starts nudging this girl and everyone's like, go on, tell him. And I said, oh, come on, you've got to tell me. And she said, I don't even think it's funny, which immediately to me says this is funny. and she says, now, in audio you'll get it, and you'll obviously only get it if you know what I'm talking about. But she said, I've got this client. She's this little old lady, and I go to her house every Friday to blow dry her hair because she can't leave the house.
Oh.
And she said, so I go every Friday and I go and do it. And I said, okay, this is like really heartfelt. I don't see where this is funny. Mm-hmm. She said, but I go this one day and she's really particular. And she said to me, I loved my hair last week. Make sure you use that mousse that you used last week because it really held it in place. So I'll have to have it in. And she said, okay, no problem at all. She's like, but this woman makes me feel really nervous. So I turn around and I open my kit bag and I've got no mousse. And she's like, but I was so nervous to tell her that I didn't have any mousse that I just crouched down behind her and went, and then pretended to put mousse in her hair. She was like, loved it, no do.
You know what though? Like Harry, my hairdresser, does this to me all the time. Jonathan, like, he'll do me hair and I'll look at it and I'll go, and it's all me mood. It's all based on the day I'm having. And he'll do it like he always does it, and I'll go, something's not right. I'll go, it's too short here, or what have you done to this bit? Or do you know what I mean? I'll say something and he'll go, yeah, no problems, Charles. No, mix it. In my head, he's going away and changing it. And I'm not looking in the mirror, so I think he is. And then he shows me it again and I go, yeah, babe, perfect. Thanks for doing that. He has since admitted to me that he doesn't fucking change anything.
But that's Harry. That is Harry. He's a genius at that.
Such a bastard. He says he just messes it up, brushes it, and goes, "Yeah, I've changed it, doll." It's such a placebo. We think we know sometimes.
It is absolutely, and that's a hard thing. It's hard to get out of your head sort of how you feel about it and what you feel it's supposed to be like. And and Harry, so Harry is godfather to my little girl who does your hair, and he's such a unbelievably talented hairdresser. Classic. But he makes me laugh. I've got stories about Harry.
Oh, babe, don't even, honestly, he's just one of them that's really God. Good for the soul.
Harry used to turn up 45 minutes late to clients with Starbucks.
No,
and he would buy them a Starbucks though, and they'd be at the desk going, why is Harry not here? I've been waiting 45 minutes. And he'd walk in and he'd go, hi babe, I got you a Starbucks. And they'd be like, oh Harry. You're just like, this is ridiculous.
But this is me. He walks in at every appointment 20 minutes late, right? The other day he was 40 minutes late, right? And he went, no, but I am actually sorry today because 40 minutes is a lot. You're an arsehole, but you're my arsehole, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. I wouldn't change it for the world.
Oh, babe. I think before I let you go, I know you're super busy. I think hair care back in the day, it used to be so straightforward. When I was younger, I just washed my hair with whatever my mum had in the shower or the bathroom, and I didn't think anything of it. But now, Jesus Christ, the market is so oversaturated and you're constantly being told different ways to care for your hair and what's good and what isn't. Things I thought used to be great for my hair, I'm now being told just aren't, I used to think Aussie and Tresemme and all that was just wonderful because I loved the packaging and the ad campaigns were fab. I believed what I was told. But now I'm sort of being, you need sulfate free and you must get Olaplex and you need leave-in conditioners. It's kind of for a normal person on a normal wage, it's all really confusing and expensive. I wanted to know if you had sort of 3 top tips that were realistic and affordable for good healthy hair.
Definitely. I totally know what you mean. I think the key is to find the right balance. So I'd look at it a lot like makeup is probably the easiest way to explain it. People understand makeup. To create a lot of the looks that you see or a lot of looks that you want, you've got to accept that it's not just, I put some water in it and it worked. If you put a makeup look on, there's multiple products involved in that. So for me, what I always tend to do is find what works for majority of your looks. So, like a blow dry primer or a salt spray. Most hair looks in the world that I do, at least, and most hair looks will have something like that. There'll be something protecting your hair when you're blow drying it. There'll be something helping you give texture and shape. So always have something like that.
Okay.
And then if you've got specifics, then you can get a mousse and a serum and other things like that. But sorry. Those are the kind of fundamentals that I would say. Salt spray is my favorite for everything. So I think everyone should have salt spray because if you want a bit more hold in your blow dry or you want a bit more texture or for guys' hair, go for it. It works for everyone.
It's a good one.
But the big key I always try and get across to people is if you can get a really good shampoo and conditioner, but make sure that you've got a better conditioner suited to what you're trying to do with your hair. So you've got coloured hair, use one that's going to benefit the colour. You've got dry and damaged hair, use one that's for that. But the biggest tip that I always give people is shampoo your hair twice, because we don't do it at the salon just to make the experience a little bit better for you. Wash it twice. So the first one will lift away all of the like dirt, excess oil, environmental factors, all of that sort of thing. And then the second shampoo is what actually then cleans your hair. And that's what will give you the benefits of it. Because if you just wash it once, it's literally just moving around all of the dirt that was already in your hair and just sort of lifting bits of it up. So, you know, when people used to, there you go. When people used to build everything up on whether a product lathered up, and they'd be like, oh, it doesn't really lather up in my hair, so I'll get one. So a lot of the brands that you mentioned and a lot of the sort of like the cheaper alternatives put additives in that to make it lather up more, so you feel like it's cleaning it more.
Yeah.
The reason shampoo doesn't lather up in your hair when you use it is because it's dirty. So the shampoo is trying to lift the dirt up, not so that doing it isn't not having that. So if you struggle and your shampoo isn't lathering up, just spritz a bit of water on it and it brings it back to life for you. So yeah, so the two shampoos is the big one, but my favorite one is once a week, get whatever normal conditioner you use, get a hot towel. And by hot I mean just put the hot tap on and run a towel under some hot water, put twice the amount of conditioner you normally would on, wrap the towel around your head while it's still warm, leave it till it goes cold, take it off and rinse it out, and you will get a naturally at-home treatment without buying a treatment.
That is so good and so affordable and so easy to do. And we all have those bits in the house. I'm actually going to do that tonight. I've been trying so hard with my hair, and I've been taking all the bloody stupid gummies and doing all the tonics and but you know, spending a fucking fortune on stuff as well, Jonathan.
That's the problem. It's just a lot of it's gimmicks and a lot of it's expensive. You go back to the sort of basics and the simple aspects of it, then you can save yourself some money and still get the great results.
Oh, well, thank you so much for that top tips from the horse's mouth.
There you go.
Right, before I let you go, because I know how busy you are, here at Vicky Pattison, The Secret To, we always ask our gorgeous guests to give our lovely listeners a couple pearls of wisdom. And I know I'm being cheeky because I've just squeezed those hair tips out of you as well. But I think for you, I'm after something a bit more profound. And at the heart of being a really great hairdresser is, of course, styling and chopping and making someone feel beautiful and gorgeous, which is a huge thing and not something to be sniffed at. But I think going back to what we said about it being so much about having a conversation, feeling like you are, the experience is cathartic in some way to a person. You're obviously a great communicator, and I want to know, because I think everybody could do with being a little bit of a better listener, what your secret is to being a really great listener.
The simple secret to it is my granddad gave me some advice when I was really young, and he said, "There's a reason God gave you one mouth and two ears," and that's what I've always stuck to. Is that you should listen twice as much as you talk, and I think being able to do that really opens up to learning more about the person that you have a relationship with and conversing with, but also about yourself, because I think it's those little moments where you get the best ideas and the best way of sharing with people. I think it's really important to listen, like I said, more than you are willing to speak, because if you're trying to talk all the time, it's impossible to hear what anyone else is saying.
That is, do you know what? That is so lovely. It doesn't surprise me that you had such a great way to sort of sum it up, because you are a good listener, but that was just lovely. And I'm going to remember that, and I'm going to say it as well.
I like that. Well, you have to say where you got it from.
I will. I will say Jonathan Andrews' granddad.
That's exactly it. That's it.
Thank you so much for being such a wonderful guest.
Thank you so much for having me.
I've gone away with hair tips for life. It's just been incredibly beneficial for me.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for having me. And as always, it's great to spend time with you. And I can't wait to see all your terrible hair pictures on my podcast.
You're such a knob. You had to go and ruin our lovely hour.
Oh, there'll be some nice ones. Don't worry, I won't do you like that.
Yeah, well, good luck. The nice ones will all be Harry's hair.